You know, around here in Mercer County, there's this idea that big change only happens in big cities, that innovation belongs somewhere else, that startups are built by someone else, that AI is coming from somewhere far away. But what happens when that shift shows up in a small town like Coldwater? When someone like Becca Wenning moves here thinking it's temporary and ends up building a life, a business, and a second act she never planned for. Today's episode isn't just about weddings. It's not just about tech. It's about what happens when the world changes and you decide to change right along with it. Hello and welcome to the Two Dads Podcast, episode number 53. To my left, Becca Wenning, and to my other left, Slick Willie. How are you, sir?
Hey, how are you, everybody? 53, year two. I'm just going to start saying year two. Right, we got past the first year. 53 is year two.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Becca.
53 though, Becca. I know you're a sports girl, but this one might be a tough pull for you.
She might beat me today. I mean, I don't know.
Do you know? Episode 16, I started guessing like sports athletes that match the episode number. Mm-hmm. Do you have any 53s out there? Like we're to like linemen and linebacker.
Yeah,
numbers.
you should know those, right? The flashiest of the field.
53, I don't. And I was listening to Bill Montgomery, so I was prepping for this question, and I still couldn't figure out a 53.
I have to show up every week, and I still don't prep for the question, my friend. I actually have one, though, this week.
Oh, I only have one, and it hurt me to even think about it.
Mine is Joe Schobert.
Okay.
Joe Schobert was the Browns linebacker, all-pro linebacker, was actually on the show, an alumnus of the show, Bill Ray, and he was number 53. So
Sweet.
I'm going to give myself a little round of applause. Let me go find that. There we go. Good job, Mitch. Let's go.
So
big fan.
There's a couple people that text me or comment pretty frequently about the numbers, right? Bidlack's one.
Oh, I
Monty's
get it all
one.
the time, dude.
But
you forgot this guy.
I know. Alex Deuce, I saw him at Walmart on Saturday or Sunday, and I said 53, tough episode. He said Joe Schobert like that.
Boom.
So, and he's really good at this.
Shout out to Alex.
And then my 53, I don't remember his first name, but it's Pouncey. Remember the Pouncey twins from Florida? They were like offensive linemen.
Mike Pouncey, like the
Marquise or something like that.
Yeah, wasn't there another one for Steelers? Wasn't
They
Mike?
were both for the one for the Steelers. He's like a center, but he's number 53. I do know that.
I feel like my sports knowledge is just absolutely exposed when I started a podcast, and I did not start a sports podcast, so I really don't know how this came to fruition, but here we are nonetheless. I have no idea, and I apologize. Joe Schobert was a Steeler, too.
There we go. We
Just
have a little
thought about that. Yeah,
Steelers
there we go.
alumni. So.
Well, I have to pitch a little bit of this because I'm not a big football person, but I'm a baseball person, and I don't think 53 is an actual number in baseball. Right? Can you think of any baseball
out there.
number?
Someone commented.
That's where you can cut me a little slack.
That is a bold play because there's probably people on the internet driving home right now or whatever like, yeah, 53, are you kidding me? The so-and-so. Why did you even have this girl on here?
Last week was 52. I said CC Sabathia. And then someone's like, how'd you miss Randy Johnson? Randy Johnson was 52. I'm like,
that's right.
Because we suck. How are you, though? Welcome to the podcast. I know you said that you were excited to be here. She actually complimented our set, Bill Ray. I'm pretty excited about that. But how was your day? Welcome to the Two Dads set.
It was great. I'm so excited to be here. I did, do a little research and watch a few episodes, and I packed a scarf because I thought it was going to be chilly in here, which it is.
Yep.
But no, congratulations on a year of episodes and, pushing through, because I know most entrepreneurs, there's many times where you just want to quit and you're like, is this really worth it? So keep going.
Thank you. I mean, that's the plan, Bill Ray. Let's go to our weekend stuff. We had a big one at Caddy's. Before we jump in that, though, you had mentioned that you wanted an old fashioned. I've actually quit drinking, but I wanted to put together one for you.
Quit or intermittently quit?
Well, I did not quit at the Caddy's event. I had a few drinks. It would be, I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep it at social stuff. But I mean, I've been powering through some Fridays and some Saturdays and I was drinking a lot. I mean, I'll be honest with everybody listening. It was not a problem yet, but it was heading toward problem where I was just too reliant. And I'm sure there's some people in Mercer County that might relate to this. I was having a beer every night or every other night, a couple beers. And I just said to myself, like, why?
Right.
Why am I giving this so much power? And even then, we talk about the progress from week to week. Like one of the things I didn't like was all this progress that I would make when I'm sober would suddenly be negated because I would get drunk. And it was just like, I don't think I liked who I was. So anyway, it's a work in progress. It's challenging. I'm digging deep, and
Good for you.
I'm happy with it. So
Yeah, until a beer sponsor comes and pays us to drink beer on set, then I'll join.
Right.
I'll join you in that. Solace.
yeah, that's right.
There
But you
go.
tell them about caddies, because I think this was a huge thing. We came in, set the tone. We came in hoping to raise a couple grand, maybe 1 to 2. What was your thoughts on it? Go ahead.
Yeah, so we had the good event. We were out there on Saturday. Everything went smooth up until the golf finale, where the simulator glitched out on us because Mitch and I put together such a horrific third hole. We were right there in contention until the last hole on the tiebreaker of the championship, and then
We played well, buddy.
we did until that last hole. Yeah. We both went in the water, and then it asked us to take a drop, and we took a drop. It was a par 3, like 165 yards. We took a drop 330 yards away somehow. So. Shame on us.
I forgot about that.
It's like, I'm like, how are we 330 yards away? Shout out to, unfortunately, my brother Jack, who won't listen to this, so he can have his flowers. And Jimmy, 6-time Wagner. They won the belt, and they unfortunately took it home. We were hoping we could keep it. It's a pretty cool belt.
Did take it home?
Yeah, they got it, but I'll steal it back at some point. But the important part is we had Ryan on, who is the father of Skylar, who has some medical concerns right now and has had multiple surgeries. So it was really cool to get to talk to him. His family was up front. His mom was supporting him, his whole family. And it seems like he's got a really good group of friends that were out there who were really pouring into him and have helped him kind of straighten his life out, where he was kind of looking at work as kind of an exit as opposed to maybe just entrepreneur. And some of his people in his life were telling him, hey, you need to be there for your family, be safe and not drive as a truck driver. And then Mitch was nervous the whole time that nobody was going to show up. So thankfully people did show up, and we just got the total. We thank all the door prize sponsors who donated a package and things like that. We were able to raise $4,250 to give to Ryan and his family.
That's amazing. I'm going to drink to that.
There you go.
Yeah, I hope it
Cheers.
doesn't taste like crap.
Right. I'll let you know.
I was missing just a little bit, but this one, I don't have the cherries. So, I mean, it's...
Ooh, that's good.
Okay.
What is that, Weller's?
Yeah, it's Weller's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
So it was cool. But shout out Four Roses. They did donate to the door prizes, so we have to give Four Roses their literal flowers.
That's good.
So it was really cool, man. Felt really privileged there when we were calling the 50-50. I forget the lady's name who won. You pulled it, I called it, and she came up and she, dressed or ecstatically grabbed the money, right? And I was like, oh yeah, and how some people donate it back. I was
Right.
like, well, maybe she should donate it back. And it didn't seem like she was going to, right?
Right.
I was like, yeah, it's 50-50.
Right. You're waiting for that little
Yeah.
window of...
Of what do we do here?
Yes.
And then she went up and hugged Ryan and handed Ryan the money. So she donated directly back to him as opposed to like us donating, which is the same thing, right? So really cool. Our first fundraiser. Shout out Lee and Lauren also from Caddies who did an incredible job. I know we organized it as a team, but they did a lot of work there. Lee was hustling and busting, and Lauren was doing all sorts of stuff. So it was a smashing success.
I love Caddies, by the way. Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Like we've been there a few times, and something that my husband and I particularly love is that you can order from the table and pay at the table and check out. And that's super convenient. So I shout out to Caddies. I wasn't there, but great job.
Some people, that freaks them out.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel at home.
No, I love it.
I don't know how you guys
You
feel
want a paper
at home.
menu? Are you the paper menu kind of guy?
There's people like that. Though.
I know.
If you got a QR code, I'll scan it. I'm
Yeah,
good.
I can adjust.
Yeah.
You got to be there. You have to meet your customers where they're at, though, right? So not everybody loves the QR code, and some people want a paper menu.
I think if you're listening right now, I'd like to give you a quick intro on Becca. So every once in a while, you meet someone whose story doesn't move in a straight line, and that's what makes it worth hearing. Becca Wenning is from a small town in Massachusetts. She actually moved to Ohio in what she thought was going to be a short chapter, and instead it became home. Mercer County, specifically in Coldwater. 3 boys and a whole life built here. She ran a bridal shop, lived the pressure that comes with owning something, then jumped into a startup world and hit a layoff that forced a decision. Go safe or build? And fortunately, she chose to build, and now she's creating Dressit, blending weddings, tech, and AI in a way that actually helps real business. So today we welcome you, Becca, to the Two Dads podcast. Welcome here.
Thank you.
How did you get back into Mercer County? Because you're from Massachusetts. I did a
Yeah.
little bit of deep dive. Why are you here?
People ask me that all the time. So I'm from a town called Ware. Where?
Oh,
It's
okay.
Ware. Yes.
Oh, I thought you were
I thought
quizzing
it was
us.
a quiz.
Where? I
I was
know.
like, I don't know.
I'm from Ware, Massachusetts, and I met my husband at Xavier. I was a nanny. So I moved when I was 21 years old. I was nannying for a family. The dad was a pilot for Delta. And they were like, you know what, Becca? Like, our dog lives better than you. My parents had gone through a divorce. It was a really rough time. My sister was 16 years old at the time. She was, a sophomore, junior in high school. And I said, I'll move with you, but I'm not going unless my sister comes. And so my sister and I moved, and we ended up in Ohio. And about, I would say, a year after I moved, I met Ben. He was in a study group with my roommates that I lived with 7 girls on Xavier's campus. And we got engaged 6 months later.
Holy crap.
We got engaged. I know. We got engaged 6 months after we met. And then we got married a year later. And we just celebrated our 26th anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
What was it like carving a personality here coming from Massachusetts?
Yeah, it was really, really hard in the beginning. I remember going to Chief or wherever we were going, and people would always refer to me as Ben's wife. Oh, there's Ben's wife. There's Ben's wife. And I loved that they were excited that we were here. We were a young couple with kids, and there was a lot going on. And that was something that I was like, I'm a person too. I need my own personality. So what do I know? And I can remember just walking around the park and seeing all the lively activity in the summer with the pool and Little League, and just thinking, wow, this is amazing. This is an awesome community. And then, in August, seeing MD playing softball. And this is funny because I was like, I really want to play. I hope somebody asks me to play someday, because I was like a baller growing up. And wouldn't you know, a couple of years later, Val Blassingame asked me to be on her team. But it was me going in and understanding what I was good at and what I loved, and that was sports. And so I started coaching indoor soccer, which is at Shipyard, which was breakaway. And I coached my oldest son because he was, really into playing different sports. And so I met people that way, and I integrated myself into the community through sports. I helped start the Coldwater High School girls soccer program in 2009, myself and Scott Brinkman. I remember we had 36 girls who had no idea how to play soccer. It was so fun for so many years. So that's what I did. I integrated myself into sports. And then before I knew it, it was, okay, it's Becca. Becca's the coach.
What was that like being Ben's wife? Was that difficult for you? I mean, like, that's kind of how I hate to say it sometimes, like the identity is assumed by somebody that's from here versus not.
Yeah, it was hard, but, and I'm an alpha female, so I've always been very driven and wanting to have my own thing. But I think it was hard in the beginning, and Ben has been really great to support me then. And he was like, oh, well, I'm Becca's, he kind of jokes about it now. He's like, well, I'm Becca's husband now. And, she's involved in all of these things. So it was hard, but not for too long.
You once said, quote unquote, I never had a new dress growing up. I wore borrowed dresses and hand-me-downs. What did that do to your confidence back then versus what you're into now?
That's a good question. And I'll get emotional about it, but I never did I had a new dress in 8th grade. It was a JCPenney dress. It was a mint green I remember it was $80. I loved it. I have a picture of it. I still love it. But all through high school, I had borrowed dresses. I never had a new prom dress, senior banquet. We had a lot of dances. It was really hard because all of my friends had new dresses. And when I first met Ben at Xavier, he told me, he goes, you're the most confident person I've ever met in my life. And I was like, really? Like, he was the first person that ever told me that. But that translated to how I ran the bridal shop and how I really observed consumer or customer behavior inside of the bridal shop, because it's very emotional. And I would get really upset with the girls that would come in and just have unlimited budgets to be able to spend what they want, whatever they wanted. I was like, you have no idea what it's like to be someone like me. And, then the girls that would come in and hey, I got a little bit here. Can I pay some later? And, I empathize with them. I had a ton of empathy. So that really helped me in a way to understand consumers.
For the confidence side of things, do you think I would deem that as superpower? Like that extreme confidence in what you do and running a business and just in general in life, right? Like, I think there's people sometimes they'll ask me sometimes, like, how do you do all that? I'm like, just extreme confidence that I'm going to succeed. Now, am I flying blind once in a while? 100%.
Yep.
Did we know anything on how to start a podcast when we did this? Not a shot, right? We retook the first episode 2 different times because we didn't know how to get the cameras to work, right? So, but I think the confidence of just saying, like, I will succeed, right? I may not know what I'm doing today, but I will get better tomorrow. And then the following day, that confidence, though, is a superpower.
Absolutely.
If you harness it properly, I do think.
Yeah, you have to. And I've been in rooms with founders, like there's the founder of Vanta. So Vanta is a compliance platform that was, she's from Columbus, Ohio. I mean, I think it's valued at $4 billion. I was in a dinner with her. There was 10 of us. And she goes, you know what? There were times where I had no idea what I was doing. So I think that's something to be said for any entrepreneur that believes in something and changing something and changing behavior or whatever it is like those people that have succeeded have been in those shoes before. They have been in places where they're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out.
How does someone like that who grew up with obviously some, I don't want to say trauma with the dress, but like it's lingered, so it obviously sits with you, end up owning a bridal shop here?
Yeah. Well, I like to spot patterns. So I'm a pattern spotter, and I had lived in Mercer County in Coldwater for, 7 years at that time. And I noticed, boy, there's a lot of weddings. There's a lot of people like going to the American Legion every Saturday. Wow, that's a business that I think I could get into. And so I joined forces with Gina and Jody, who had owned Brides and Beyond for 8 years prior. And they were looking for somebody to help with marketing. They were like, we're at a point now we can see this change coming. It was in 2010. Becca, do you want to come in and be a third partner with us? So that's how I got into it.
What was the first year of owning the shop really like?
Yeah. And I say this in my pitch a lot. I invested my life savings in 2010, and it was the same year that Pinterest and Instagram launched. I had no idea that the wedding industry was about to be rocked, and neither did they. I thought I was stepping into this really fun, beautiful, dreamy business, and instead I was like in the middle of a storm. So the first year we saw things changing, but I implemented a point of sale, which was like a technology platform, because we were doing everything on paper like most other bridal shops. And I was an early user of Bridal Live. Bridal Live is the standard platform that is used by the bridal industry. Coincidentally, it was started by a software developer and his wife who owned a bridal shop. They had domain expertise. They saw the problems. They built a solution, very similar to what I'm doing. And I said, if I ever sell Brides and Beyond, I really want to work at Bridal Live because I would love to that. So Tom would lean on me a lot of times for user feedback. Like, Becca, what do you think? Because I just had this mindset of just solving problems and inefficiency. So yeah, the first year was like, we got to get this digitally, because if there's a fire, we don't know whose dress is here, how much they owe. And that is going to be I would not sleep at night.
So have you always been someone that's like big into technology? Like, new iPhone got released. Are you always trying to innovate and get with the times very quickly?
Not necessarily in that space with gadgets, but more about solving problems with technology and inefficiencies. And that was something that I did very well with the bridal shop, to be able to move from we were a very, I want to say discount-based store into an experience-based store. And there were two people that came into my life that helped me to understand that. And that was Kelly Layfeld. So she was my manager for a couple years. So she comes from like Layfeld Implement, Kenfeld, which is Truland now. I mean, I think she was 25 years old. And she's like, Becca, you need to stop doing discounts because we cannot staff. We are losing money. It's a race to the bottom. I was like, okay, I respect you. You come from a family business that is very successful. And around that same time, I had a mentor come into my life randomly. I was at Lululemon in Easton shopping around. And once again, I was like, okay, I'm just studying some things. And this gentleman asked me a question, and we just started randomly talking about tech. And he's like, well, what do you do for a living? I said, well, I'm actually like thinking about integrating e-commerce into my bridal shop with Prom. This is 2012 or 2013-ish. And he goes, well, I'm the head of IT here at Lululemon, and I'm just doing some customer research. So we met for lunch a couple times, and he eventually became like the CTO of Ralph Lauren. He's the CTO of Aritzia right now. Wow. I know. And these people come into your life at really random times, but he sat me down and said, Becca, the future is experience-based industries. Like, you have to be able to provide experiences. That's what brides and consumers are going to be wanting. And that was before everything really became experience. So we invested money into Brides and Beyond to make private fitting rooms and really just cater to that experience. But with the technology piece was meeting customers where they were at, texting them, email marketing campaigns, and just really like leaning into the latest and greatest technologies that would help consumers, buy products easier.
What can you say about network? I mean, how important was it to network as you scaled this business?
So
it's your net worth.
So huge. And I say that now for kids going to college, like if you're going to go to college, you're going to go to college to network. Like that's what you're going to get out of college right now. Networking is huge. And I do feel very fortunate inside of the Columbus tech ecosystem. This is something that's really cool. I think I posted on LinkedIn that I was accepted into the Jumpstart program, which is an accelerator. It's a very competitive accelerator out of Cleveland. They accept less than 8%. I'm currently in it right now. So they help companies that they believe can be venture backed. And I posted this on LinkedIn, and a very prominent, successful entrepreneur said, Becca, well-deserved. You have so many people here rooting for you. And that's Columbus. It's not even my home, but it's a place that I showed up. Like I went to events by myself and I networked, and I genuinely wanted to create relationships. I wasn't really looking for anything in return, but I really just wanted to learn. And those people, when you show that genuine connection, they want to introduce you to other people. And now I get introduced to all kinds of things. I mean, I go to all kinds of events with high net worth people all the time.
How do you take risks with children? Like having children and obviously being a mom and such, like is it scarier? I mean, we're starting business with the small children, so it's a little, the bills are still there, but there's still a little bit of hesitancy. What's it like having more grown up children who can judge you and speak back and, have thoughts around this?
Right. So how old are your kids?
5 and 7. So they are very judgy, but at the same time, not quite teenagers.
Right. So it's a completely different perspective. I guess I say that my kids are my secret weapon. Most of my customers, not my customers, but my designers' customers, brides, are Gen Z, right? Gen Z, those are my kids. I pay attention to them. I pay attention to their friends. It's been really fun to see them embrace this, because at first they were watching me put things on TikTok and Instagram, and I don't like it. It's cringy, but it's business. You have to be a thought leader. You have to be present, because if people see you more, they trust you more. I mean, that's just the way it is. And now they're commenting and they're sharing and they're embracing it, and they're wearing t-shirts with my logo on it. And I think it's an incredible time for me to set an example of bet on yourself. Believe in you. My husband believes in me. Like Ben is the absolute, love you, Ben. He is the ultimate champion. He's like, you sold the building. What are you going to do next? Invest in yourself. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm telling you, it's been really hard. And 90% of startups fail. Like I'm not there yet. I've got backing and I've got support and I've got an opportunity, but it's all about execution and getting the right people to help you execute.
Highly motivated wife to Ben of you both running businesses, right? And trying to find the balance of, I would say luckily your kids, are to the age where you're self-sufficient, right? So you don't have a newborn at home or anything like that. But what's it look like for a husband and a wife doing two totally different businesses, really two totally different directions? Like how do you guys balance that?
Yeah, that takes a lot of patience and growth. Ben knows that I need challenges. He knows that I need something like this, and we've grown together to understand, like, this makes me a better person. After I sold the business and I went to work for a tech startup for 2 years and learned tech, I was behind a camera. I wasn't talking to people. I was taking direction and learning, but I was like, I just don't know if this is me. I need to be out in front. And recently he's great because he loves cooking and baking. So he's been stress baking lately. So Ben. Come on over. When Ben is stressed out, he's baking 12 loaves of bread, or his latest thing is he's making noodles. So it's a balance, and it just comes with respect and believing in each other. Like I could not do this without him. And we say this in the founder space, entrepreneurs. If you don't have a supportive spouse, like you will not succeed. They have to understand who you are and that fire inside that needs to, be activated.
What's been the most mentally exhausting part of this process?
It's the ups and downs, right? It's, hey, I have these conversations with global designers, and I'm, in the hospital next to my mom, who's fighting for her life, and I'm trying to write up a proposal, and I'm like, should I be doing this? And then, the designer writes back, or they ghost you. And then it's like, oh my gosh, should I be doing this? And then the next day, another designer comes and says, Becca, you're brilliant. This is exactly what the industry needs. So it's that ebb and flow. and being like resilient also to rejection, because you're going to get a lot of rejection. People aren't going to believe in you. They're not going to understand what you're doing. So making sure you're surrounded by people, even if it's one or two people that can support you to help you to keep going. Like you guys with your podcast. I'm sure there were many times you're like, is this worth it? Like, who are we getting to? And then the next day you might get a review or somebody comments, and then it's like, okay, there's a sign. I've got to keep going.
Yeah, no, I think it's true, because one thing to go back to, I do agree with that, because there's definitely been days where Mitch and I will say, hey, I just don't know if I got my fastball today, right? Like, and we still got to record on Tuesday. We have a guest that's going to show up, and maybe you don't feel the best, or you had a long day at work.
People are counting on you.
Yeah, and genuinely, like, people every week, like I looked at the episode, I get an alert every morning, right? And it airs at 5, and then at 6:45 when I looked this morning, there was like 12 people have already watched the YouTube video. Like, it's only been out for an hour and 40 minutes, and there's already 12 people. So
At 5 in the morning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Someone wakes up at 5 a.m. and wants to tune in. And even if it was 50 people, right? Last week's episode did great with Sheriff Timmerman, and we're on a really big roll. Like, I think you and I talked about it. But to tie it back to that a little bit, I think the spousal thing you talk about, we've hit on this every third episode maybe. Haley's obviously my rock to his Tasha, which is Ben to you, right? And I think if anything, people need to understand the balance of running a business, right? I think there are marriages out there that probably fail from entrepreneurs, right? Like, one, there's a financial stress, right? When you're putting all your eggs in this basket, maybe, right? It could ruin a home or a marriage if things don't go well.
We were close. Tasha and I were close. I mean, we were never going to like break up, but we definitely had moments where the conversation was unpleasant. It was not like a breakup conversation. It was, I can't keep filling your cup.
Right.
And that wasn't fair to her. Like, I'm chasing this thing with wild passion. I'm not eating. I'm not taking care of myself. She's watching the kids. She's doing all these things that I'm taking for granted. And it certainly is something that I woke up to and realized how much that support system does matter, and not taking advantage of it. And then mending that is equally as tough, because the business doesn't stop.
Right.
Like, we didn't stop Two Dads so I could go fix things with Tasha. You had to learn how to mend those things while doing the business.
Yeah.
Taking breaks was huge. I mean, I look at you, Bill, like specialization, and stop doing 5 different things. I'm not doing 5 different things anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I do what I do to support myself, and the Two Dads comes in the summer, and the podcast goes once a week, and that's pretty much all I'm committing to anymore.
Do you know, have you heard of Bonobos, like pants? The pants.
Yeah. I bought some shirts from them.
Okay. So the founder, his name is Andy Dunn. I met him in person. He has a book called Burn Rate. You guys should read it. He talks about that. First of all, he's like, I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the support of my spouse. He's like, I wish I would have gotten married earlier. But he just talks about how obsessive you become as an entrepreneur when you're building things, and how it's just your life and you can't do that.
Shout out to all the strong women in Mercer County. I got to give you a shout out. We talk to the boys a lot. We do sports. Shout out to you, females and women of Mercer County.
Yeah.
I think it's important because, we talked about it, right? The food truck last year was probably the most hours I've ever worked, and I've always worked a ton of hours. And then it was just that realization where I took this new job, and it was really just the woman in the red dress theory, right? Like, I just keep looking at the new hot object in front of me, right? Which is the food truck, the dumpsters, the podcast, Albert Sporting Goods, my normal job. And it was
squirrel.
How good can I be if I just attack, what I do at VSF? And I'm going to be really damn good. And, I did leave the food truck, but the podcast was something that, when I talked to, my mentors at work, I said, I just enjoy it. It's my connection to the community, right? I don't make any compensation for this. I just enjoy connecting with people, meeting people, business owners, and just talking to people in the environment, right? We're talking about, I was at Subway last week with Riker, and a lady stops me, hey, I really like the podcast. Keep up the good work, right? Never talked to her before. I knew who she was, obviously, just through mutual friends, but it was like, that stuff keeps your motor going, right? Yeah. Just that little comment there from a complete stranger kicks that motor, that gear that you needed to keep going.
What keeps your motor going? I mean, obviously, you're not having as much like, we're a podcast in the entertainment space, so people are giving us feedback real time. You're in a very behind the scenes space. Like, what keeps your motor going?
My motor going is the small businesses, like making sure there were 15% of bridal boutiques closed last year because there is a problem with this disconnect. What keeps me going are the designers that I'm working with right now. These are small designers. They're passionate. They're putting their everything, they're investing everything they have into their collections. I want to see them win. We understand that we're building something small together that could have a huge impact later on. That keeps me going. My kids keep me going My husband, as hard as he works, I try and tell him every day, like, thank you so much for working hard for us. It's hard because there's no guarantee, but yeah, that's what keeps me going, that I can make an impact.
What's the average amount of dresses a bride will try on prior to
Pardon me, Bill. That's a perfect time for a mini game.
right.
I've got some fun. Bill's unlocked the first mini game. That's actually a perfect timing, Bill, because I've got a fun mini game.
The daily double.
All right, this is called Groom or Doom. Bill, you're going to answer in pure groom logic. Becca, you are the bridal shop experience person, and I'm going to ask you prompts about facts and figures in the bridal industry. You'll give your guess, Bill Ray, and Becca, you'll kind of correct him if he's wrong. How does that sound? Everybody on board? Okay, here we go. How many dresses does the average bride try on before
I
choosing?
swear I didn't know that. Honestly.
Bill Ray,
man.
your guess, and then Becca, you can.
I know there's some brides out there that probably try a ton on, and then there's a fair share of Beccas who have the low number. I'm going, Drew Brees just got elected in the Hall of Fame. Shout out Drew Brees. I'm going 9.
Okay, and Becca, do you know the average?
I don't, but I'm going to say it's lower than that.
I don't have this facts either, so that's perfect.
Oh,
Higher or lower?
Oh, we're going to go lower. That's
Yeah,
that's
lower.
perfect. Higher or lower. How far in advance should someone order a wedding dress, Bill Ray?
ooh, man. Haley is going to yell at me if I don't remember this one. I want to say it's like 3 months.
It's about...
We got a sound effect for that somewhere. I've got a trombone. Here we go. All right, Becca, what's the answer for us? For us guys in the room.
If you want a special order and you want the most options, it's usually from like 9 to 12 months. 3 months, you're looking at purchasing something that's already available. So,
I guess that's probably what Haley was doing there, right? Though?
but I will tell you this: the time at which brides are searching for dresses is reducing. So they are around the 3 to 6 month range. That's not uncommon now.
So you got to propose early, boys.
Yeah, let's get this organized. What's the number one reason for last minute alterations?
I love all you women, and I just did this with my suit as well that I got for Cody Horseman's wedding.
I'm waiting for it.
I would say thinking that you're going to lose weight to meet a measurement that you don't end up hitting.
Yes, I have PTSD. I have PTSD from that. Because I'll tell you this, when brides come in and they argue with you about the size and you tell them, just don't worry about the size, don't worry about, you're not going to lose weight, just you're beautiful the way you are. And when that dress comes in and they come to try it on and it doesn't fit, it's our fault. Always.
I didn't lose the weight I
Are you
said I
still
lose.
are you still 27 inches around?
Even if we measure, you have to smooth that over. Even
Now,
if it's not your fault, it's your fault.
You'd be known to give yourself a couple extra inches when you're measuring, right, Bill?
Yeah, size 14 feet. Because you could always, in theory, though, you can always make it smaller. You can try to alter it smaller is easier than altering it larger, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so cool.
What detail do grooms underestimate the most?
Probably how long it takes to order a dress after I already messed that one up. But I would say the neckline is always a big thing, I feel like, right? Just like this area, whether it's, a V cut or just across the top, whatever it is.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I don't know if I understand
I was
the
gonna say
question.
price. I was gonna say
that too. When you said the neckline, I was like, I don't know if I'm hearing the question the right way. So we're interpreting it in different ways.
That's the beauty
price.
of a podcast.
I would
So
say the price.
that's price. Who usually makes the final call on a dress?
I would say that the bride should always make the decision, but I would feel like if there was an influencer in that decision, mom might be a little overbearing sometimes and
Ding,
help
ding, ding.
influence the decision.
There you go.
Yes, moms are a hot topic of conversation, and that's why we include moms on our platform as well.
Well, I appreciate you playing my little game show. That was fun.
The one with a couple that didn't have answers.
Well, Haley worked for a bridal shop, so
Shout out
worked
brides
for
and
me.
Yeah,
beyond.
you should know all
was
of these
listening.
answers.
This weekend is all about the Salina Moose Lodge 1473, and Saturday is all about the Polar Plunge. At 1 p.m., brave souls are jumping into freezing water to raise money for Special Olympics Ohio, and yes, some of them will be in costume. It's cold, it's wild, and it's for a great cause. Then stick around. Black Hoof Creek plays from 3 to 6, and we keep the party rolling inside. Come support the plungers, that's fun to say, or better yet, be one. It's the Salina Moose Lodge 1473. Freeze for a reason, then warm up with community.
You're doing all the work for the designer and the consumer at the same time, kind of, right?
it's an ecosystem, and I
Yeah.
think that's what makes it really complicated because you have 3 players. You got designers, the boutiques who they have to distribute through wholesale, and then the brides who are the ones buying it. And everything is disconnected. And my platform is aiming to bring it all together.
So I guess my question is, there's two sides of how I was thinking about this. Was one, the consumer, right? The designer and your AI information has now said that this SKU is what Midwestern Ohio women are going to like more likely than not, right? Based off SKU rationalization or whatever. Okay, cool. What happens on the flip side when we say this and I'm a bridal owner and those don't fruition? Because I know that it doesn't mean it's 100% hit rate, right? It gives a better idea. What am I going to say as a bridal owner where I used to go to market and I used to make my own decisions and now I'm trusting this data from Becca and Dressit AI, right? And she's completely wrong, right? And I should have trusted my gut. I'm just playing devil's advocate there. That. And, how does that shape what you would tell a bridal shop owner if that did happen?
Yeah. So my customers aren't the bridal shop owners, but that would be, something that the designer would have to say, look, these are proven. You can pick what you want, or you can go on our data-backed decisions. But moving forward with that, the designers are going to know where the dresses are. And if a dress is not working in Ohio, but they see it working in Florida, that Florida boutique didn't pick it up, they can communicate and do that like inventory exchange.
Where it was never available before.
Never available before.
It reminds me a little bit of merch because I was in clothing brands for a long time. We were both the design team, the fulfillment center, and the distributor. So that's what Brandon did. He basically brought them all together.
Okay.
And we were doing them for influencers, and I'm not going to name them because we always get some crap here. But
Bear,
Monty. But what I was thinking is there was so much pressure on the designer to come up with a national design that would appease everybody in the constituents of the YouTube community that they were involved in. So if Logan Paul, for this example, we were making him a shirt, it would basically be guesswork on the designer.
Yep.
Guesswork on who would want to wear that. I mean, when it's more social like that, everybody sort of wants to wear it just to be a part of something, and that was community based. But it was still guesswork. It still very much was guesswork. Like, hey, we are designing a shirt at a guess. We are distributing at a guess. Some would hit like crazy and then others wouldn't sell, but we never had the data to understand why it didn't sell.
Yep. There's a whole fashion tech surge around this. And I like to say I was ahead of it because I lived through it in the bridal industry. The bridal industry is one of the most emotionally expensive inventory, like complex spaces to be in. So I had been planning for this. Well, now I'm seeing other startups pop up in this area. Like, wait a minute, we need to get information at the consumer level in real time, so we then can curate our design ideas around what they're wanting.
That's starting to freak me out now. Now you're starting to curate sort of like what the customer base is without them knowing what they know. I guess you're starting to analyze real time, which again, we never had the technology before it to be able to analyze or to quantify some of these things at such a rapid pace. You would used to have to do surveys or qualitative focus groups.
Right. This is real-time stuff that is super valuable, but it's much more sustainable. Like, bridal is meant to be sustainable. It's made to order, but right now it's not. They're just making dresses and forcing boutiques to buy lots of dresses or without any demand or proof. And then those dresses sit there. And what do we do with them? I mean, I opened the sample studio because I was drowning in dresses that inventory that couldn't sell. And this is happening throughout the industry. So that's a symptom of the problem. The problem is because there is no intelligence. So if we can capture that invisible bride or user data in a space that they're engaged with, hey, I want to fill out this quiz. And that's what we're getting. They're excited about it. Think of where we can go with that. And we have another feature that we're going to show too.
I want to ask both of you guys a question real quick. Do you think people know what they want?
No.
I've run into that. So yeah, that was my question. I'm getting two heads shaking, but I think I've always had this sort of swing. I've had the swing between do you have the designer present something and then they know they want it, right? Or do you have the public, tell you and then that's how you form something the opposite way? What's your thought, Bill Ray?
Well, what I was going to ask when I was asking a question earlier, I was thinking back to, and I'm going to say this, and I don't know any dress designers, right? But anybody that's good at what they do especially designers, I would think, have a stroke of ego that, hey, my name is Bill Ray, and I have this wedding dress, and it's dubbed Ray's Wedding Dresses, right? So I know what consumers want, right? Like there's got to be some ego. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been building dresses. I know what girls want. And I think if you flip it backwards now, where we're hearing from the consumer, do you think any of those designers on the backside take a little back seat to say, well, what I'm making is not what consumers want, so I need to change how I design dresses?
Yes and no. I think it's going to help them from a perspective that they can still design what they want, but they're going to be able to test it faster to see if it's going to work in specific areas. And then the winners, the proven winners, not every design out of a collection is going to be a winner. That's where they really lean in to our intelligence and our data to understand these are necklines that this body type in this region are really loving. And go in on those deeper trends to then build their next collection.
How trendy is that industry? Because I think of like influencers, things like that, right? It was the Jenner, Kylie or Kendall did the Fanatics ad, right? And it was like, oh, all these girls started betting during the Super Bowl now because Kylie or Kendall Jenner was doing it. Like, oh, I want to throw $25 on the team, and still upset the Patriots, lost a bunch of money on them. So, but the thought process there is like, do influencers or anything impact all of this to any capacity? Because I would think if I'm a girl, right? I remember when Haley worked there, right? And if she got a dress, when she got her wedding dress, she knew somebody else locally got that same wedding dress, right? And I don't want to look the same as Becca Wenning, right? I want my own identity.
Everyone wants to be unique. That is trending right now. Everyone wants customizations and they want something unique. That's why like thrifting and old like vintage things are really popular right now.
I've always asked the question too, because everybody had the same venue. Mercer County, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry to throw everybody on the bus. And your weddings are beautiful. I'm not judging, but everyone would have the same venue at the American Legion for about 6 years. It was the same wedding, the same trot, the same bar, the same food, the same chicken, the same potatoes, the same
good food though.
But I do think the pendulum is changing. Yeah. I don't know what's causing that, but customization and whether in video games or in bridal or just as a personal trait to people, I'm certainly noticing the same thing. It's starting to get that customization is everything. We do at the shipyard. It no longer is kids are interested in playing flag football because they want to play flag football. Yeah, certainly there's parents like you, Bill Ray, that like, yes, we're just going to do this because this is how we do it, and it's the lineage of my dad and how I did it, right? A lot of kids need that like entertainment value. We got GoPros out there and title belts and rings, and we almost have to mirror what the WWE was doing and culturally back in the day, or even like what Fortnite does, dude. So the customization, we're seeing it skew younger and younger, whereas the people in their 30s and 40s, like it was just about the process and customization was important. But you're seeing now it's even more and more important.
And it speaks to, you said it, you see the same wedding over and over and over again. You're seeing the same wedding dresses over and over and over again. Brides are, I want to tell a story. That's why they're wearing multiple dresses now. Now it's not just one dress. They're wearing 3 or 4 dresses throughout the night. And I have my thoughts on that because I think they're hedging regret, because it's hard for them to say yes to one dress and then continue to get filled with more wedding dresses in their algorithm that they'd second guess what they bought. So there's a whole lot of like FOMO, and like you said, the customization is huge, and that helps us, like me specifically, as for what I'm building, because we are catering to smaller indie designers. So indie designers are going to have smaller collections. They're going to have the ability to pivot and customize based on feedback faster. They have, closer relationships with the bridal boutiques that they're serving, and we really are kind of in the luxury side of the market as well. So this customization piece is really like a really cool piece for them.
Where does price come into that customization, right? Wedding dresses are expensive in general, right? I'm just making a blanket statement there. I'm sure there's all sorts of price points. But where does this customization go from a manufacturing guy of, making 1,000 widgets as opposed to 200 widgets, right? Your efficiencies go down. There's a lot more that you need to stock and new necklines and all that other stuff. Does that drive the price up at all?
So the luxury market is something that I wasn't involved in firsthand, because that's not what my price point was here in Mercer County. I had to buy what would sell here. These designer dresses are anywhere, retailing from $7,000 to $25,000 to $30,000.
Oh,
you've got a daughter to buy a wedding dress for, Mitch. Get prepared.
But I will tell you this, the data is showing that the middle market is getting squished. So there's a lot more. I can
say that about the middle class right now too. I think there's probably something.
Yeah. So the customization piece is for that consumer that they don't have a budget. Like it's just, I want whatever I want. I want to customize it. And then we're seeing more of this. I want something inexpensive, under $500. I want to thrift it. I want to borrow a dress. So there's a real big shift going on in the middle.
How'd you pick that? I mean, obviously you have this idea. Okay, let me see if I surmise this. You have this idea. You've noticed this pain point. You've pivoted a few times once you got a little bit deeper, like any business does. You know what we identify with the food truck. We've changed some things to maximize and things that weren't going so well efficiently. How did you land on the market? Like, how did you land on luxury versus, because that's the niche market, right? Like, and I've said it in the past, and I've heard it. The niche will make you rich. Like that's sort of like a play in the merch industry, at least. But you know, there is a lot more people getting married that aren't buying $30,000 dresses. Like, how did you decide which market to attack?
Data.
Simple answer.
It really, and if you and me knowing and having been in the industry, the data-driven designers are the ones that are winning because they have figured out how to utilize data for their designs and their strategy and their growth and their scalability. And so data it's the one thing that you can count on.
How did you get data like that though? I mean, I'm not trying to ask proprietary stuff, but like, how does one get, I'm sure if this AI hasn't even existed before, right? Like this product you're trying to bring to market, there's no like Nielsen report where people are watching television to like value a Super Bowl commercial, like, oh, 40,000 people did this. How does one even go about getting into the data industry? Because you were not in this industry prior.
Right. I was obsessed with it though, because one of my designers, Essence of Australia, was a very data-driven company. And I learned from them because they would take us and do different breakout sessions and help us to understand our Google Analytics and how we needed to form our website. So I learned from them and I saw them win and scale and grow. And I said, that's what I need to do.
I might be stepping ahead on this one, but how do you scale that and grow that and improve upon what you have? Because like, you know, it's one thing to take the data and start using. It's another thing to continue to collect, right? You probably have a very small sample size, I would assume.
We have a very small sample size. What we are focused on is really helping those small designers collect the data, but then we activate that data. We activate that data to help them reach out, and we use AI to help them craft marketing campaigns or emails to prospective partners by collecting that data from, you know, their users.
Is there any other market that's like this? I mean, like it's built for bridal stuff, but my question is,
it's blue ocean for me. That's why this is really difficult, because this had, and even explaining it to people and explaining it to designers. Hey, I can see the big picture and I can see what you need, but you know, our pilot designer has all of this data and she's like, Becca, I don't even know what to do with it. That's our product. Our product is, yes, we're collecting this first party data for them, but we are helping them activate that data and turn it into sales and be able to scale and be able to move dresses around where they need to be and just like bring this whole ecosystem together.
I know she used Blue Ocean though. My question is, can you talk to people about this? Blue Ocean Strategy is a book. That was one I read years ago, which basically, I'll let you take it over if you want to talk about it real quick.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it until I was in this group. I'm in Thayana, and I love Nomiki. She's my friend. If she's going to watch this, give her a shout out.
No free brand deals. I'm sorry, we're not doing that.
She helps female tech founders. She helps female tech founders like myself from idea to the first million in sales. And she's got a framework. But anyway, she lives in Hilliard and we become really good friends. And that's how I found her. I found her talking about the blue ocean. And I said, yeah, that's me. I'm actually building something that doesn't exist right now. So that's all I can say about it. I didn't read the book.
Oh, okay. Well, she's just stealing verbiage from it. So blue ocean, let me just help clean it up. Blue ocean means that there's plenty of water. Like there's a lot of opportunity where it exists, right? And then the red water signifies sharks in the water, that there's a lot of people playing in this field, in this particular genre or niche or product. And it's best most times to stay away from that. You want to head toward blue oceans versus stay in the red. So that's just a fun fact.
If you still ran the bridal shop today, right? If you were still maybe, whether it's Brides and Beyond, or you still owned a brick and mortar, where would you use AI to help first?
Ooh, for them. And it's interesting that you say that, because in version 1, when I was creating the marketplace and things weren't moving along as well as I thought, because one boutique didn't want to be on it because her competition was on it, and this one wanted to show prices and this one didn't. Ty, my senior, said, Mom, would you buy your product? And I said, you know what, Ty? I don't think I would. So I'm not in the bridal shoes anymore. And a lot has changed since 2020, but I would lean into what I'm building, and that is push your designers to embrace technology, because they are the ones with the marketing budgets. They are the ones that are driving the brides to their sites and then ultimately sending them to you. So invest in Dressit so your partnerships with your best designers can become stronger. I don't think many people around here actually know what I'm building, and I've had a hard time explaining it just because I am building software. But to your point, and just initially talking about it with bridal boutique owners, because my first version was for them, they were freaked out. And that was in 2024. So a lot has changed. I mean, we're in 2026 right now, and a lot has changed since then.
Well, the tech curve is not linear. It actually,
Correct.
I mean, if you're watching, I'm making hand gestures, but it basically goes and goes, and then it just goes straight up. It does not go like up gradually over time. Tech sort of progresses at an extremely fast rate. And I think 2 years in the tech world in 2024 to 2026 is a massive jump.
Massive. And I'm in the middle of it. I started, I feel like, as a dinosaur, and now it's completely different. We just had a meeting about it today on a group that I'm in.
I'm very passionate about AI too, just because I've been in AI technologies now probably since 2023 a little bit. Things were in Discord, if you guys have heard of that.
Yep.
And I've been messing around with Suno, with making songs, making pictures, messing around obviously with ChatGPT. Have you had any interactions with it, Bill? You use it at all at work, or what's your interaction? Because I'm kind of trying to get a pulse of like where AI currently is in Mercer County.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm in Miami County, which is Piqua Troy area, but it's no different than over here. We push it as much as we can. So we actually use it as a prompt to put in a rental application. We can dump all your information into the pre-settings, and then it'll basically score you to tell you, red, yellow, green light, essentially, whether it's a good resident or a bad application. Hey, this person's credit score, their income, their background check, what comes back, and then we obviously set the parameters. So
Yeah.
it's quick. You can just download it all, snip it in there, say go, and then it gives you our standards. Basically, it gives you a quick shot. But one of the owners, Justin Spillers, pushes it harder than anybody I've seen. And he says we either get with it or we get lost. And we're pushing it to try to integrate it to any capacity that we can. Now, I wouldn't use that as legal advice to use that and act like you're an attorney or something like that. But low leverage stuff like that, especially like data dumps, like that's what I'll use it for. I'll say, hey, here's this, blah, 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 paste it in there and say, give me a report on, these parameters. And it's 10 times faster than me going through doing all the formulas and everything else.
Yeah. And I think the wake up call, or the, hey, this is actually coming and not going away, was last May. I was a speaker at the Ohio X State of Tech. And it was, there was over 700 people, tech enthusiasts and entrepreneurs throughout the state of Ohio. And the president of Ohio State came on and said, we are making a pledge to make sure that every single student is AI fluent moving forward. And that was a really bold move, I think, to be the leaders in that space. And when you hear somebody in that role speaking that way, this is something that you need to pay attention to.
What got you interested, just in general? I'm sort of a tech nerd, so I sit here and I'm like, this is natural. I'm on a computer all the time. I love streaming. I mean, you guys at home know me well enough to know that the nerd side of my life is pretty prominent. But how did you get involved as someone, maybe not necessarily you'd moved, we'll get to your backstory, but what brought you to the AI fold?
I think I was trying to think back, and it was probably 2021, 2022. And I can't put my finger on specifically what it was, but I was coaching robotics at the time. So I helped to start the first robotics program in Mercer County with Jared Ebbing and Leanne Mullenkamp. And I was talking to Chuck Allig, who is one of the coaches there. And I said, hey, we should really start thinking about using AI for coding and the programming and the marketing and the outreach. Like, there's this thing called ChatGPT. And the students were there, said, oh yeah, we know what that is. And he's like, really? And he's like, tell me more. Well, this is interesting because just last week, I quit coaching a year ago because the business itself was just taking up too much of my time, and I couldn't devote the time I needed. And one of the girls, Eve Lisi, said, Becca, can you come back and help us with our setup and our marketing and give us some ideas? I said, yeah, sure. I loved going back there. So I was there last week, and Chuck says, Becca, how's your business doing? Remember when we had that conversation about AI? He's like, I think about that a lot. So it was me being very tech savvy. Even when I owned the bridal shop, I was always looking for ways to make things more efficient in the processes that we had. And that is basically what AI can really do in a very valuable way. So.
I think what I'm noticing in Mercer County is people are starting to finally catch up to ChatGPT. You guys know what I'm talking about, by the way. I'm seeing a lot of social media being used. I mean, I see the pictures where you probably put the prompt, turn me into cartoon, right? Like, I think it's obvious that ChatGPT, AI, and some of those things are starting to slowly integrate into our county, which I think probably have a little bit of resistance. I think it's blue collar and that this sounds scary and bad. And in some ways it is. I don't want to.
Responsible AI is a huge hot topic. You have to be responsible with it.
Well, we're seeing things especially on social media where it can be exploited. I think you see people that aren't actually fighting, or pictures of Trump where he's doing something.
What's real? What's not?
Exactly. And even sometimes I look at it and I got to notice that little extra finger, or I notice on the shirt or a bottle, it's like a gibberish and stuff. But even me, I'm like, man, they're getting real
it's
good.
Getting better. Yeah.
Or worse in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the pendulum of how it swings. It's tough though, because one of the things that's challenging is it's not slowing down anytime soon.
It's not. It's my head spins. Are you guys on X? Like, do you follow any X people that are in the AI space? Because once you get into that algorithm, it's messed up. It just keeps coming at you, and it makes you just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm behind. I have to do this. I have to learn that. You talked about Claude Bot earlier, Claude Code, Lovable, Replit, all of these things. And it's almost like it's a level playing field right now, because I will tell you, I am very involved and integrated into the Columbus tech ecosystem. And there's a lot of people that are, AI specialists, but they basically say, like, this is still so early. There aren't experts anywhere. We're all learning together.
It can be pretty intimidating. Do you know what Claude Bot is, Bill?
No, but I'd love you to tell me about it.
Yeah, so Claude Bot, it's funny you brought that up. We were talking about it off screen. That's what she was referencing. Claude Bot is a new technology coming out there utilizing AI, where it basically, if I'm getting this right, can help you build a full business around nothing. It basically, the newer thing we're seeing is that it's going to assume all of the files on your computer. You basically give it permission to look through your computer.
Yeah, and take over.
I've seen Smart House. I'm out.
Exactly. What was the other one? What was Upgrade was another one of those freaky movies where, like, I can't do that for you. Yeah. You have to give me permission.
Let's talk a year from now and say, let's see what you're thinking about it a year from now. Like, that's the craziness of it. Like, I'm out. You said I'm out. Let's revisit this a year from now and see where we're at with Claude Bot. It'll be interesting.
I would just say, because I just think about, like, the sensitivity to some of that information that you're giving them access to. Like, I'm relating it to my world, right? Real estate. I have obviously privileged information from every resident we have, right? I have their social security number. I have all this stuff, right? So now I'm giving it to this Claude Bot, right? And I don't know anything about it. So I'm not educated. So I'm talking very ignorantly right now, which is okay. I give it all that, okay? And then I fail to pay a subscription in 3 years to Claude Bot, right? When they raise prices to use it or whatever the experience may be. And then they sell it to aftermarket marketing people. And now everybody, like, I look at liability a lot in the real estate world. So
I don't think you have to be in the real estate world to look at that. I look at liability all the time with this AI, because it can process information so fast. Look, I live on the side of, like, I think that data is going to be like a digital currency at one day. Like, the ownership of data. Like, there's no reason, like, why Google is there. Like, it's got all our searches and stuff. I mean, AI freaks me out at the rate that, like, how far is it going to go? Is it going to go so far where the IRS starts using it, and if you missed a couple bucks, because it can go back through all your tax returns and then it quickly process all your bank accounts, and now you're in deep legal troubles? I mean, it gets to a weird point of how far is this rabbit hole going to go down?
And sensitive data, don't ever put sensitive data in anything. In ChatGPT, Claude, don't ever put your birth date, any social security, anything that is sensitive data, do not ever put that in ChatGPT. That's my PSA right now.
Have you had experience with that, or what?
No. I just know, because I study and I read a lot about it. But yeah.
How can people learn more if they're interested in learning more about AI? Is there any tips that you have? Is it attending those conferences? Like, where are people at? Because I'm sure people are sitting at home going, like, yeah, this is terrifying. Yeah, I've had thoughts about this. Yeah, I talked to my wife or a partner about this. But, like, where do you go to even learn this stuff? Even I'm a little bit of, like,
Yeah. So fortunately for me, I'm embedded in some of these founder groups. There's 100 of us in the Ohio Founders Club that's been started by somebody in Columbus. And we have, like, just a nice group chat that goes on. There are other activities and conferences that are headed up by, like, Ohio X, Chris Berry. He's been very much a leader in that space. So lean into people that you trust, that are using it. I think, dabble with it yourselves, but it is the Wild West right now, and it is very scary. And what I talked about earlier was responsible AI. and AI governance. Those are two things that you're going to hear. So if you want to learn about that, maybe start searching about those things to understand, like, how can we use it? And for example, like, my husband's a dentist. Have you guys used like AI avatars yet? Like, create your own avatar to speak. And so
You have, for sure. What's that? You've showed me when you talk to that lady and she gives you back the information.
Oh, she's talking. I'm talking like a personal assistant. You're talking about like an avatar of me that can like replicate my face and
exactly. And then you just read. If you have a script, you can just read it, and it'll create.
I haven't messed with that. The one I have messed with is the teleprompter one, where I can look to my right and read word for word, but AI generates my face to look like it's like forward and speaking.
Fixes your eyes.
So I'm over here constantly looking like this way, and or up above like a teleprompter, and it's fixing my eyes to look like it's right in the camera. I still get pissed when I see commercials that they're like, I clearly can see you looking to the guy on the side with the cue card. That's like
so annoying.
The lines here, read the lines.
Yeah, the problem is like, I would say I'm not illiterate when it comes to tech, right? But like, I'm not that detailed either. So they're probably passing and beating 95% of the people with that, right? Like, they just won't know the difference. Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Like trained eyes like you and Mitch probably can notice it.
Right.
We're not that good.
Right. It's getting so slick right now. But yeah, I think that's something, especially in small businesses in this area. Like, my husband says, I say the same things over and over and over again to patients. I wish I could have a video of me telling them how to do this aftercare for their dental work. And so that's something myself and my youngest son, Ty, are going to start working on, is putting together videos. And Ty said, well, maybe I could do that for more dentists. So these are things that, one, are not eliminating jobs, right? They are adding additional resources and giving my son, who is connected, to the dental industry, a way to provide, just some fun things to be able to share with patients.
I think that's why I'm so excited to chat today, because you're bringing up AI not in the sense of like this huge data center or this huge coding or this big Claude concept. You're taking it and applying it to everyday things, which I think is relatable to the topic today.
And small towns too.
And small towns, because whether we like it or not. I asked you guys at home, are you ready for AI? Do you think AI is a good thing? Do you think AI is a bad thing? But I'd love to hear in Mercer County how you are feeling right now, because it's a tough one to gauge, and I'd love to see what the community thinks. I think the adaptation of AI into everyday things in Mercer County, though, is going to happen regardless. And I think it's going to happen in, I don't even know, a couple years max. I mean, it is accelerating at a very quick rate, where even businesses like, bridals and dentistry and now real estate, it's only a matter of time until it gets to schools. It's only a matter of time. It's already in coding for, Crown and stuff. Those guys aren't just using Python anymore. They're using AI to help them write some code and stuff.
It's really incredible. I can code now. I mean, think about that. Like, I was not a coder, and I can create a full app within 2 to 3 hours myself. So getting back to the bridal shop, side of things, and who is AI for in a small town or anywhere, something that I've been hearing over and over and over again is somebody that has domain expertise. So Bill, you understand the real estate space.
Right.
Where are the inefficiencies there that can make your job better, or you can help service your customers better? For me, I understand the bridal industry. And that's something that's been talked about in many different spaces, that those are the people that look at things and say, that's just not good enough. Or you go in, that is just not efficient. Those are the people that are going to win with AI to help, make things better. What I do is I'm building software that helps bridal designers, like wedding dress designers, understand what brides want, where they're at, and where the boutiques are that they can send them to. So what I'm doing, and this is important because this is a $70 billion industry that is massively underserved by technology. I know it. I've lived it. I've, been on the small business side of things. And what I'm doing is I'm building infrastructure for an industry that needs emotion and human connection. So what I'm building is software that connects this ecosystem between designers, brides, and boutiques. It's pretty cool.
How much can you talk about? I mean, like, what can you talk a little bit about what it does, or
it's kind of like HubSpot. Are you familiar with HubSpot? Like, people, this is where
I kind of am, but talk to us like we're 5-year-olds, because
right,
there's a lot of people listening that are like,
all
what
right.
the hell's a HubSpot?
Yeah.
Pornhub?
Yeah,
Are you talking about Pornhub?
Pornhub. So, all right. So, for instance, a lot of marketing is expensive. Social media is out there. It's probably like the main discovery driver for bridal. Bridal is very visual. Bridal designers are spending a lot of time and money sending brides and people to their website, to their social media sites. And if you and I are probably very similar, we're on our phones, we're shopping and we're looking at different sites, but we might be nosy. We might be looking for something. We might want to buy something. So when you're getting hits and sessions on your website, you don't know who those people are, what they want, or how they're feeling. And that's really important for bride designers. They're getting a lot of hits on their website, but they rely on wholesale partners like boutiques to be able to deliver the experience of selling the dress. So they're marketing direct to consumers, but they don't have that like relationship with their end consumer. So what we do is we take their website, and actually we're starting with I call it an AI powered collection. So we're not integrating into their website yet. We will be. We are building a Shopify plugin that's in progress right now. But right now we have an AI powered collection. So we're working with small designers. They have small collections, and it's a link. So they can share that link on social media, email, they can add it to their website. And what it does is it pulls in brides or moms or anyone that is interested in taking our quiz. So we have a bridal DNA quiz. We understand the intent, where the bride lives, how she wants to feel. And we have this proprietary matching system that is powered by context engineering. So if you want to look up AI, context engineering is a way we use an agent, but we also have like guardrails around it. So what we do is we gather invisible data that has never been available to designers before. So we have one of our pilots. I mean, she has 100 brides that filled out the survey the quiz within, the first 30 days. So she is seeing interactions of which dresses they like, why they like it, what their budgets are, how they want to feel, what's important to them. And something that came up that was really telling is, brides, the number one reason that they're looking for a dress is they want to feel good in their body. Like they want something that's going to make them feel good on their body. So we're still very early and we're still figuring this out, but we just take that, all of that traffic that comes to the AI powered site, and we analyze it, and we have dashboards. So the designers can see where the brides are, where their pockets of demand are, and then they can go form, new partnerships with boutiques. So if I have, my designer is seeing demand in Florida. She never knew where her brides were that were coming and engaging with her social media or her website. Now she knows when their weddings are, what their wedding dates are, and she can go now and form these partnerships with boutiques in that area and say, hey, I have brides in this buying window. These are the styles that they're liking. Do you want to try and test these in my store, or do you want to do a pop-up? Because the biggest thing with designers is they don't know where brides are liking their dresses.
Did you notice a pain point in between all that? Obviously with the wholesale, like you were just frustrated and said, I'm going to take this and do it myself?
I'm glad you asked that, because my version 1, which I started in 2024, was completely different. It was a marketplace. So it was like every bridal shop could come on the marketplace. So it was like the Knot.
Yeah,
where people It was like the Knot, but just for wedding dresses. So my idea was you can get all of the Brides and Beyond, Emmys, all of these bridal shops could come on and list their dresses, talk about their store, but also list their special orders. So it was a way for them to have a centralized platform that brides could come to. It was an app. It was great. All right. We had traction. We have bridal shops on it. This is great. Well, then we couldn't get distribution. So, and that happens a lot. When you build a company, you have an idea, it starts out strong, but then for whatever reason we ran into, and here's the biggest thing is the bridal shops don't want to show prices.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge. This is all
I had to solve a problem and not show prices. So that's me being the problem solver and going back to the drawing board and saying, there is a massive, structural problem going on here. We have to think of an alternate way to fix this. So it's basically the same type of platform, but we are targeting now a different layer of consumer. We now believe that the designer is our customer. It's a designer-led journey. And if they have data to power their boutiques, then the leads can be sent through the designer to the boutique so they know where the brides are.
I'm not trying to sound stupid. I'm trying to follow this still. So woman wants a wedding, right? She goes to a boutique. she looks through dresses that technically the boutique does not have. Set me through in layman's terms without the AI part of it. Show me the pain point, and then I think I can work it backward.
Bridal designers are marketing direct to consumer. They show 100% of their collection online. Boutiques only have 20 to 30%.
Because of inventory.
Because, they're not buying their full collection. They can't. We can't invest in every designer dress from every designer. So we have to buy minimums, right? So we have a small representation of each designer, but designers are showing the full catalog. Brides are completely confused because they think if they see this online and they go to the store locator and it says, this boutique, carries this dress, they think that dress is going to be there. And there's a 70% chance it's not. So it takes a bride an average of 5 steps to figure out if what she saw online on Instagram is actually available in a store. Okay. Are you following now?
Mm-hmm. A little bit more.
Okay. So what the problem is designers are going to market twice a year. And me, as a bridal shop owner, I would go and I would pick out dresses that I think would work in my area. I think I have to buy these 5 dresses from this designer. I have to buy these 10 dresses from this designer. I hope they work. I'm providing the demand intelligence now for the designers so they can say, Becca, you are in Ohio. These are our 5 dresses that are working right now. These are the brides that are engaging with them on our website, on our social media. We know that these are going to be proven winners in your area. These are the ones you need to have in your store.
What have all these pivots prepared you or taught you?
Pay attention. Yeah, pay attention and be willing to, one, listen to people that can help guide you. I know this may come in as a funny piece of things, but you were talking about being a squirrel. Like I'm a squirrel. I'm not anymore. You know PK, right?
Patrick Klein?
Yeah.
Yeah, very well.
Okay, I know.
Patrick and me and Matt Benson ran around at eFuse. Okay. They built it out of my wow, what a name you just pulled out.
Right. So PK taught me conviction. And he was one of my mentors for a little bit last year. And he's like, Becca, you are a freaking squirrel.
Does PK know you're here?
No.
Oh my God. I got to FaceTime him after this.
Okay.
This is it's going to blow his mind.
So I did put something on Instagram. I'm like, hey, I'm going to a podcast with 2 really fun people that live 10 minutes away. He might put 2 and 2 together there, but I'm not sure. So PK taught me conviction. And conviction is, Becca, you can't keep moving and looking at the big, bright, shiny object. And that was one of the best lessons that I learned from somebody, that mentored me. Small world.
My mind is absolutely blown right now that you just pulled Benson, who was on our redemption. He and PK were on the eFuse team that worked in the back office. PK sat literally in my warehouse, not
in the toilet closet that
Matt talked about. It was me and PK and a couple of engineers, and PK was a real driving force, especially eFuse. I'm a part of eFuse.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He understood exactly what I was building, and I was like, "Can you please come on my sales calls with me?" Like, that guy can sell and understand
He's so
concept.
Swaggy, dude.
He is. I was like, can you come sell for? He would just spit things out of his head. I overcomplicate things. That's I tend to think too far ahead and over explain. Becca, no, you gotta talk numbers.
We call that keep it simple, stupid.
Yes.
Just something very simple. Just you're making it too hard. Where do you want to be in 2 years with this?
Oh, 2 years. I want to have a partnership with Haley Page. So Haley Page is a designer that I carried in my own store. I loved her dresses. I loved her story. They weren't good for my market. If I would have had data to know what was going to work, I probably would have done better with her. But she also was a young designer that just had so much talent, and she had her name stripped from her because of a lawsuit because she didn't have IP protection. And so she couldn't do what she loved, which is, designing wedding dresses for years. She fought it in court. She ended up winning. She just got her name back. She just launched her collection, her comeback. I get goosebumps about it. I would love to partner with her. That is my dream, is to be, and I do have a connection to her. But sometimes you just feel like you're too small. And I think that's a lesson that I need to learn and other people need to understand. You're not too small. Think big. Think that you're good enough and what you're building can actually help them.
I think I love that.
Me
because
too.
I've been the definition of, I think it was like the Savicki episode, right? where we had this guy who he's an influencer online. He's got like 400,000 followers.
And you loved him.
And I just was a follower of his for multiple years, right? So we were like 20 episodes in, right? And he did this merch drop, right? And I just replied to him on a DM, and he wasn't following me. And I was like, hey, love what you're doing. I need to get one of those hats or shirts or whatever he said. Hey, we got a local podcast. We're starting to do digital. Would love for you to join. And like 3 hours later, he says, 100%, let's run it. And I sent Mitch. I was like fangirling at first a little bit, right? I was like, this dude's going to come on the podcast. And then we're like, shit, we got to figure out how to get this stuff to go digital because we had
test no ability to do that yet.
Right. Fake it till you make it.
We were literally just upselling and saying, hey, we can figure it out. Other people do it. We can do it. So I would just always say, like, my dad has always said, what's the worst someone's going to tell you? No. And we're right back where I was before I asked the question. So if you can put your ego aside from getting turned down or said no, just shoot your shot.
The other shot that came to mind, the other thought that was there was think big. I had a couple mentors tell me, Mitch, you're not thinking big enough, right? You want to be safe. You want to compartmentalize this. You want to put it in a package where it's so easy to go pick it up and right in front of you. You want to just be able to grab it and then there it's done and that's easy. You're not thinking big enough.
Right.
You're not thinking big enough. And I want people at home to think about that. Think bigger.
Right.
If you're exploring something, if you're trying to build a business, trying to build a product, you're trying to build a better process with your spouse, you're trying to be in a group or get over social anxiety, whatever all these things may be, you need to think bigger because those things do manifest. You start to think about them differently. And soon, small things, what do you say, Bill? 1% what?
1% better every day.
They turn 1% turns into 7, and suddenly Jake Savicki's on your episode. And it's just stuff that we have never sort of planned, but it sort of happens because we put ourselves in a position to think big. The last question I want to throw at you real quick.
Yep.
For any little girls out there who are dreaming of starting a business, for our 33% female audience, right?
I'll get more.
Or guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But there's a nice balance here. What advice do you have for them if they are setting out the first day they walk out the door to think about starting a new business? What do you have to say to them?
Yeah, think about what makes you happy. Like, what is your purpose? What is your why? My why has always been, I love to help people. I like to be in places where I can offer assistance to make things better. So recognize what you're good at and seek support of people that have been there before you. Look for mentors, women, men, whatever, we're talking women. And I think that's something that I've heard from some of my former soccer players is they went into engineering and they backed out because they didn't have female engineers ahead of them to help lead the way. So I say this, I love speaking at high schools. I spoke at St. Henry recently. I'm going to be speaking at Lincoln View. It's, you know what, come to me. I will help. I am more than willing to talk to people or women that are like asking questions. I actually met with a student who's going for her MBA at the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania today. Brilliant woman. She found me on LinkedIn. I said, let's stay connected. I'm here to be a mentor.
I think LinkedIn's an underused tool as well. I mean,
well, it got kind of spammy for a while. Like there's a mix.
Agreed. Yeah, you do still get a lot of those. The amount of plant manager messages I get for people wanting me to buy.
You were in the plant manager thing. I was hoping to connect. It's just not even a real sentence. It's just a fat paragraph of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we talk back to like the Pete Beck thing, right? Like he works at 49 degrees over there. Yeah. So just reached out to him, and then we saw him at the Caddies event this weekend. I'm like, hey, I know we were talking about that. When are you going to come on the podcast? He's like, I watched the last few episodes. I'd love to come on. So he's coming on, I forget, 3-4 weeks from now or whatever like that. But
the good news is we're planned. We actually are planning
That's
now.
great.
That's a crazy sentence to say. It used to be a week-to-week thing by the seat of our pants.
Talk about growth like that, though, right? Something as simple as that, right? When we first started this, we were scrambling for some guests and things like that. Now we're scheduled out to almost April, right? So we're 6 to 7 episodes ahead where we can really start looking at these episodes, getting better questions, better formats, everything else. Now, Mitch does 97% of that stuff, so he does a really good job there, so give him his flowers. But just being that far out and planning, look what the growth we've done just in a year, because before it was like, man, who can we get on?
I used to come here stressed every day.
Yeah, we got 3 days to find a guest.
Now I have to find another one for next Tuesday.
Network effects. You get network effects, right? And then people like me, I love this experience. I was so excited to come on. Ty was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. You're going to be on that show, right? And then those kids are going to start sharing it. And then it just multiplies there. So I'm excited for you guys. And Peter, I don't know Peter, but we're connected on LinkedIn. Yeah. And he supports a lot of my posts and I support him. So like, I think it's just that respect of people like entrepreneurs and go-getters in Mercer County. Like you have to stick together and like level each other up.
And that's why we're here. Mercer County, the two dads are here for you. Dressit is here for you. You have a whole resource growing underneath your feet that if you have questions about business, people like us don't want to have to go to Columbus to do this. We'd love to spread our knowledge here. You've got a Bill Wright, you've got a Becca Wenning, you've got a Mitch OG Pickle over here. But I have a question for you guys as I want to play a game show. Are you interested in playing our game show?
Of course.
Have you talked to your lawyers? Everything's squared away. We got the paperwork done. Okay, we got Bill Ray. You got that. Bill handles 97%
Every week.
of the paperwork.
I'm tired of talking to attorneys.
All right, we're going to play a game together. This one's called Artificial Unintelligence. All right, before we let Becca out of here, we're closing with a game called Artificial Intelligence. I'm pitching ridiculous everyday products, sort of like dresses and stuff. Not ridiculous, though. That's upgraded with AI. Are you guys ready for this one? I'm gonna ask you and Becca if you're interested in investing in my business. I'm gonna give you the name of the business, and then I will give you the prompt of what the business is about. You just have to give me an in or out. How's that sound?
In.
Sounds great.
All right, here we go. Sock Sense. It's an AI camera inside your washer that tracks socks, predicts when they will vanish, auto reorder replacements, and send weekly reports titled "Where Your Socks Went Wrong." Are you in or out?
In.
I'm out. I just rather buy new socks.
I almost started a company called One Shoe. You should ask my kids. It's about when you lose a shoe or your dog eats a shoe.
Well, this is about me right now, so
Yeah.
thank you very much. It's Grill GPT Pro, an AI camera grill that yells when you flip too early, adjusts the heat automatically, and assigns a dad brag scoreboard.
In.
Out.
Okay.
There's just too much finesse to the grill.
No, it's good.
Haley's probably in. She
Yeah.
freaks out on the meat. That's a sentence. All right. Cart Chaos AI, a grocery cart that questions emotional purchases, texts your spouse when you go over budget, and locks its wheels when you
Haley.
over purchase.
In.
Out.
You're out. Okay. Mirror Mind. It's a bathroom mirror that scans outfits, checks weather and meetings, and roasts you before work. In or out?
Ooh, I'm in. I think that's fun.
I'm in. I like that.
Okay. Lawn Boss AI. It redesigns mower stripes, ranks neighbors at which they mow their lawn, and deploys drones for brag-worthy footage afterward.
Ben Mock would be all over that. The acne commissioner.
I'm in on that.
I'm in.
I love a good stripe show.
Okay. The Fridge Oracle. It scans expiration dates, creates dinners from leftovers, auto orders groceries, and judges your produce habits.
I'm out. Haley does that organically.
I'm in.
More time
Can
to
it
work.
clean? Can it clean the fridge too?
This is not you. Maybe if you invest, if you invest today, maybe we can pivot. Last one before we go. It's the Chair Judge. Posture policing office chairs that reduce, recline, and send productivity summaries.
Out.
In. Give me that.
All right. Well, we've got a split decision. Thank you guys for investing in my companies, and thank you all for watching the Two Dads Podcast, episode 53. Before we go, Becca Wenning, thank you so much for being here. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
This is wonderful. Bill Ray, anything to say before we go?
No.
The daddies.
The daddies. Yes, we will get the daddies out this week, I believe. And you guys can all vote for your favorite episode from the first 52 episodes. Becca is the first one for next year's daddies. Denny Hamlin, Daytona 500 winner this Sunday. You heard it here first.
Shout out to the podcast. We'll see you next week.